So, welcome to another episode of, Lexotic Reptiles. This is the overzealous boyfriend here behind the scenes of the camera. And I have some questions for Miss Alexis here. How you doing tonight, Alexis?
I'm just peachy.
You're just peachy?
Yeah, about ready for bed, but there's work to be done with the reptiles.
Work to be done, Miss Camera Shy?
Huh?
I said work to be done, Miss Camera Shy.
Whatever.
So, question.
Answer.
What would you say is the hardest part about raising uh, your reptiles?
Time?
The time?
Yes. They are very time consuming to be taken care of properly.
So, what would you say increases the time the most? Like, what would you say?
Just the daily cleaning. Reptiles, they gotta do their daily business.
Oh,
Usually after being fed, but it could happen anytime, really.
okay.
The spot clean and make sure their humidity's good, their tanks are nice and moist if they need it. Make sure their water bowls are filled, the little bits and pieces.
Okay. So, I will tell you this. I want you to feel free to move around as you normally would, um, as we have multiple camera angles here. So, and you are mic'd up, so you can move around um, like normal, and I should be able to catch you wherever you go. So you don't necessarily have to look at me while you're talking unless you want to. Okay.
Stage right.
All right. So we got the
Disappeared.
basically move-in day. You just set up the reptiles. Um,
Yeah.
I
Got all
kind of
my favorite things in one place now.
right. So I kind of got in a little late as far as being set up. I wanted to get the whole thing and you pulling them out, which is why I have this third camera right here of you on the floor down here putting putting all the storage bins back up for moving. Um, but so far, what when you move, what would you say is the what do you care about the most when you're moving your reptiles?
um, I don't know. Securing the reptiles when you move, making sure they're in a safe enough container to survive the trip.
Alright. What do you
And of
what
course, not breaking the glass tanks because, those are kind of expensive.
They definitely are. Even though we had a mishap with the with the uh, with the
Stand right there.
black stand on the way over
Yeah.
here. I was trying not to laugh, but I was trying to get the words out. So would you say you have out of what you have now, other than
The what?
um, what would you say? Do you have a favorite reptile out of the ones
My
that you have?
favorite reptile, as much as I like my bearded dragon, right? So the bearded dragon was the first reptile I ever got.
Mm-hmm.
Got one from Petco. 2017, I believe it was. Didn't have it very long, because I ended up leaving, going into the service. So I had to give him away, unfortunately. I didn't really plan that out too well, but I also didn't plan on leaving as soon as I did either. Um, and unfortunately, he ended up dying about a year later. The lady that I gave him to did say that I could have him back, but yeah, that didn't happen.
Oh.
So I do, bearded dragons hold a special place in my heart, but as much as I like bearded dragons, sorry Doc, you know, I like you a lot. You're my second favorite, but definitely Nagini, my sunbeam snake. She's my first snake I ever got. She's definitely my favorite, even though I don't get to see her a lot because she's very sensitive and doesn't like people.
That's the Nagini's the very iridescent one.
Yes, my
That's
rainbow
very
snake.
popular. If you're familiar with the channel, you know. I nicknamed her Iridessa for her iridescent color, and I made a joke about how in nature a lot of animals that like to hide underground are surprisingly very, very colorful and are somehow very clean at the same time, which is crazy. Um, so you said you got your when was your first reptile? When you said 2017?
Yes.
So you bought your first reptile in
Yes.
2017. It is now 2022, August, right?
Yeah.
How many do you have in total now?
Give me a second.
Feel
We've
free to
got
go through.
5 ball pythons right here. We've got 2 bacon skinks. Oh, we're counting all of them total, right?
Yep, all of them total.
Okay. Nagini, 3 hognose, that's 11. 2 Colombian boas, 13. Gizmo, 14. My gopher snake, 15. 16, 17, 18.
So you got 18 in total.
I got a problem.
No, you don't have a problem. You have a hobby. You're a hobbyist. You have a love and a passion for reptiles.
Yes, that's a better word for it. I definitely love reptiles.
So how did you come along with the idea? What made you realize you liked reptiles so much?
See, when I was a kid, I liked dinosaurs, and I wanted to be a paleontologist. And realized couldn't really do much with that. A lot of reading and studying that I didn't really care too much for. So I realized reptiles are the closest thing to dinosaurs.
So realized reptiles were the closest thing to dinosaurs. So
Yes.
that's what happened there. Oh,
Huh?
okay. I said so. Basically, your love for reptiles came from your original love, or I won't say original because I'm pretty sure you still love them, but came from your love of dinosaurs.
Yes.
What do you think the biggest misconception about reptiles are?
They're scary. They're gross. They're slimy. They're really not scary at all. I mean, they can be intimidating because they got a lot of sharp teeth. Some of them, most of them. But for the most part, they're just a bunch of babies.
You gonna
Look
bring
at
one
this.
out?
It's adorable.
And what kind of snake is that?
A ball python.
All right. Is there a specific color pattern that would be familiar to the ball python fanatics out there?
So for ball pythons, right? A lot of people know there's a million different colors. They call them morphs.
Mm-hmm.
This specific ball python is what you would call a banana fire morph.
Banana fire.
Yes.
I think they could have just left that banana. Personally.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart. He's the first ball python that I got.
Mm-hmm.
I got on the 4th of July last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a little holiday, so it's easy to remember the birthday of that one.
Huh?
So I think it's easy to remember the birthday of that one. 4th of July, banana fire. Would you like to go through the names and show off what kind of reptiles you have?
Okay. A little spot right here. I didn't name them. The previous owners that had them named them.
Okay.
And I just kept it because, he's adorable and I like that name. I'll just show them off one by one.
Yeah,
Sound
you can
good?
show them off one by one.
This here This is Medusa.
Okay.
She is a what is she? She's a pastel, I believe. No, she's a butter cinnamon fire. She can get feisty sometimes. She's pretty chill right now though, so we're good. She's most likely going to be the next snake that I breed this coming winter. She just got to do a little bit more growing, but I'm sure she'll be up to weight. With ball python females, you usually want them to be about 1,500 grams before you start breeding them.
Hmm.
That's usually considered a healthy weight. This is Big Mama.
Big Mama. Hi.
Yeah, Big Mama. She is the first ball python that I bred. Successfully bred her. She had 6 eggs. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened, but none of the eggs made it. Most of the eggs died pretty quickly. 2 of the eggs survived almost the entire time until we went away, really. Because they
Uh,
were still alive, weren't they?
yeah, they were still moving a little bit. They just didn't seem. They were very, in the human terms, very premature, basically. And in the animal world, premature for the most part don't really survive. Correct.
Yes, usually, nah. And she is a black pewter calico. So she was bred to Spot down there, the banana fire. And he will be pretty much my yearly breeder until I get another male. This right here is Pandora. She's a little nippy, very feisty. Um, she would probably be ready. She's been growing pretty good. She'll probably be ready next year, next
Hmm.
winter, to start breeding, if not sooner.
So exactly in your mind, how do you come across exactly which snakes you want per se?
In the sense of breeding ball pythons, or
Like
just
in
in general.
well, not breeding, but just like in general. Like if you decide you want to buy a snake, exactly how do you decide what do you want? Are you a fan? Would you say you're a fan of buy pythons, or did that just kind of happen?
So ball pythons were kind of like a starter snake for me because, like I said, Nagini was my first snake, but I wasn't really that experienced with snakes.
Right.
Um, yeah, so ball pythons were just kind of a starter python. I usually look for the odd snakes, the species of snakes people generally don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually what, tickles my fancy, as they say.
Tickles your fancy.
Yeah. This right here is my little girl, my lemon caper. She's getting up to size pretty quick. When I first got her, she was about the size of the palm of my hand. So I'd say she's done some pretty good growing so far. Hopefully in the next year and a half she'll be ready to breed. Okay. I'm not gonna bother my little lizards up here because they're very shy and I don't want to freak them out. The move kind of bothered them already.
And what kind of lizards do you have?
Um, these ones in this specific bin, they are what you call bacon skinks.
Right.
They are also known as Sulawesi water skinks. They're very reclusive, not very well known. Um, yeah, it took me forever to find them. I got really interested in them. I had one, but he got really sick, and I had to give him away because I was not very suited to take care of him. And it took forever. It took about 3 years to find another one, I think it was.
Okay.
And then I have a tegu as well. His name is Gizmo. He's just a baby.
Gizmo.
He's a little cutie pie. Let me see, he's sleeping down here. Yes, I have him in a bin. This is just his temporary enclosure. So, for everybody who's gonna freak out, don't even bother. I already know. You don't need to tell me. Come on, little man. Alright, baby Gizmo right here.
And you feel free if you want to. The camera behind you.
Oh yeah, look at that. You see that? Pretty boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a little blue on his head. It's kind of hard to see it sometimes. He's an absolute sweetheart. I can't wait for him to get bigger though. He's about 9 months old, but he's so tiny because as he is a tegu, they do like to brumate, and I got him in October and he slept until May, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he hasn't really been eating much. He's still been kind of sleepy. And this past month, he's really just started to get up. So hopefully he starts growing a little bit. Hopefully we skip this winter. Get you caught up to size there. Alright, go back to sleep. I'm sorry I bothered you. And we got my box of dirt up here. My little...
Is that a variation of a jar dirt?
Could be sometimes. Let's see. Let me see if I could find her. This is really dirty.
We support Johnny Depp, by the way.
Huh?
No, I was just saying jar dirt. We support Johnny Depp.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you've seen the news lately, but there's been some type of thing going on where people have been saying that, oh, he's lying, and this person said this, and this person said that. I don't know about you, but somebody's lying about something.
Well, the problem with most of the cases is that it's all he said, she said. So when it comes to domestic violence and things like that, there's always a he said, she said type of situation. So
Come here.
I tend to go by the court of law for the most part.
Ooh,
And there she is, folks.
my beautiful rainbow.
The famous Nagini.
Y'all like that? Huh?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me pan. Let me pan. There you go. Go ahead. Show her off.
Y'all see that? Look at that.
Give him a little close up. Walk up to it. There you go. Right there.
Gorgeous. She's not a fan of being held. She freaked out when I picked her up. I don't know if y'all saw that, but she is absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful snakes I've ever seen. And she just, ever since I got her, I said I love snakes.
And Nagini just recently kind of went, mini viral, hasn't she? Did you one of your most popular posts there?
Yeah, actually, yeah. That last post of her that I put on Instagram, Lexotic Reptiles on Instagram, yeah.
Don't forget to follow Lexotic Reptiles on Instagram and YouTube. Definitely follow on YouTube. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel here.
Go on, pretty girl. There you go. Put you back. And I call her a box of dirt because don't really pick her up much. She just lives
And she
in
stays
here.
underground. She stays underground, right? Most of the time.
She's very skittish. She does not like people, does not like to be held.
And I think if she stays underground a lot, I think the light probably bothers her.
Huh?
I said I think with her being in the ground all the time, I think the light also bothers her a little bit, especially if she's not ready for it.
Yeah, the light, I know a lot of the snakes aren't too much of a fan of, bright lights and whatnot.
Right.
But her and then my leopard gecko, they hate bright lights. Every time I turn the light on, they just look at the phone and they start freaking out. I get it. I understand. You don't like bright light. Alright. Moving on. This here is my Western hognose snake. I have 3 of these. This is a female. She is a purple line anaconda hognose. If you can tell, you see the spots. Kind of looks like an anaconda. That's why they call it anaconda. She is just about a year and a half, 2 years old, I think. I have her and a male that look pretty much the exact same. Let me see. No, no, that's Pickle. No, no. This one, Arlo. Alright, and here's the male. You can see the size difference in them. They're about the same age. He is ready to breed. She actually would probably need another year or so before she can get up to breeding weight. Females usually get around 3 feet, and they are one of the few venomous air quotes, or not few, but air quotes, venomous species of snakes that is kind of okay to have. Their toxin isn't. And even now, if there's a
Hold on.
few, you'll
Ho-
probably be good.
Can we get you to hold on for a second? I think we got a technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulty. I think we got a battery just died. Either let's see. Check you out. Stop my life. Oh, yeah. Check. It's saying it has a full battery here.
I thought I heard a little beep or something.
For some reason, it's phasing out. Both the batteries are in. I think maybe the battery. Oh no, there it goes. All right. So
Technical
I
difficulties.
guess I'm gonna have to follow you around here in a bit.
You want to do me a favor?
So you could.
You see that clear bin right there?
Which one?
The clear one on the floor?
The big one.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you get my snake hook?
Got you. Snake hook extraordinaire. Give me a second,
It's
folks.
inside there in the
You just want
gray
the whole bed?
in the gray box. No,
Oh,
you need the whole bin.
my bad. Look.
Look at you. No, those are the tongs.
Oh, snake hook, snake hook, snake hook. I'm learning. I'm learning, folks. Don't pay me no attention. Bam. Snake hook.
Alright.
I'm learning.
Give me just a minute. I got a set of these snakes here. Some more snakes, of course, because we don't have enough snakes. They are Colombian rainbow boas, not to be confused with Brazilian rainbow boas. They are not quite as colorful and iridescent, but they still do shine pretty good. And these are actually a pair of albino Colombians. Hey, how you doing? pretty. Eventually in the works to get bred. That's why I have two. I have a male and a female. Not really a fan of albino snakes, to be honest, but these are, I don't know, they're pretty.
So once again, what went into your selection?
My selection, different. I like to be different.
You like to be different.
Yes.
So are all the snake, all the reptiles you have, would you say are abnormal, like most people don't have, or
Um, Pretty much everything aside from the ball pythons would probably be an oddity. Even my bearded dragon, in the sense, he is technically a designer bearded dragon. It costs more than the average bearded dragon. She's not in here. That is because of his coloration. Again, we go back to morphs with reptiles. Pretty much any reptile, they call different color variations a morph.
pause? Let me adjust the cameras here. Seeing as how I wasn't planning to step into the light. This was all supposed to be about you.
Where is Static? I lost my child. Oh, there she is. Come here, you little crazy nut. Yeah. You little bugger. You good?
Yeah.
Alright, so now, like I was just saying about the bearded dragon, a lot of people have bearded dragons. Excuse me, sir.
My bad,
My
man.
way. So a lot of people also have leopard geckos. Now this is also a designer baby. She is what you would call a black knight leopard. Very pretty, especially those eyes. I don't know if you could really see the eyes or not, but gorgeous. And her coloration is just hard to pick up on camera. I don't know if it can really pick up the velvetyness. Is that a word? Velvety?
Velvety.
Velvetyness. Yeah, she's very black, and it almost looks like a velvet black. I just had to have her though, because not everybody has a black leopard gecko. Like I said, designer. She's very expensive. Most people wouldn't want to pay the price tag.
How much was she?
She was 900. That was considered a deal, considering the fact that these can run up to $3,000.
That's a deal, but it's still high. Mind you, everybody, I just got a slider, which I technically got for free, and you could buy for $30. Yeah, and she's out here buying.
Take those off the side of the
Yeah,
road.
and she's out here buying $900 reptiles out here.
Yeah. And just to let you know, leopard geckos have the tendency to scream. I don't know if you've ever heard a leopard gecko scream, but it is hilarious. And she didn't do it. She has a tendency to do it every once in a while. But if you ever get the chance to hear one scream, it's hilarious. Alright. Now for this snake, I use my handy dandy snake hook. Because I don't know if you know this, but snakes have the tendency to bite sometimes. And contrary to popular belief, snakes don't bite people just because they feel like it. They bite people because they think they're food. Now, this snake has a very strong feeding response. So usually what I do when I take her out is I'll bring the snake hook out. If she gets taken out by the snake hook, she automatically knows that there's no food because she's not stupid. Snakes aren't that stupid. Now, she does have the tendency to get hissy sometimes, so she might freak out on me a little bit. Come on, pretty girl. But you see, she has no interest in trying to bite me or anything. Come on. She's a very strong snake, though. Come on.
So, just a quick notice to the people watching at home. I just activated the actual audio from the camera since the mic, her live mic went out. Probably can see that on her back hip there, even though she still got on all black. So audio you are hearing is coming from the camera. But go ahead.
Come on. No, don't do that. I'm having technical difficulties.
What did she do? What did she do? What did she do?
Look. She's going to get stuck.
What did she do? What did she try to weave in the middle of the rack?
Come back. Abort mission.
Abort mission.
Damn, she's going to get stuck.
You probably gotta let her go through and catch her from the other side.
What if she gets stuck?
She coming out. There you go. Yeah. She just wants to wriggle. You gotta let her wriggle. So we are having a technical malfunction here in the newly appointed reptile room.
Okay, here we go. Come on.
A little bit taller.
I know. Come on. Here, I'll put you back.
We're having some technical difficulties here as she decided she wanted to wriggle her way through the snake right there as soon as she comes back out of the, as soon as she came out of the tank there. So she's trying to let her slide her way through.
Come on. There you go. Backtrack. There. Yup. Okay.
All right, we got her and we are back. There you go. As you can see, sometimes not easy to handle. Oh no, that's not a blooper. That's going straight in production. I'm not taking that out.
Wow.
That's going straight in production there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this
back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yes. This is my feisty little girl. Not so little girl. Belladonna. She is a white-sided gopher snake. She's about, I believe she was born in 2016. So what's that? Math real quick.
2016. That's a 6 year.
Seven?
That's not. That's
Six?
six. That's 6.
That is 6?
That's 6.
Okay. I'm not too good at math on the go.
Depending on if her birthday came yet or not.
Huh?
Depending on if her birthday's came yet.
Well, I don't know the month. I just know the year.
Okay, so we'll just say she's 6 then.
Yeah. Very gorgeous snake. I love this girl. I got her from my local reptile guy. Look at that face. Absolutely gorgeous, and she's got my arm in a death grip. Very strong snake. This specific lid that I have on her tank is not secured. I actually have another tank on top of it so she doesn't escape, and even then she can still lift the lid up slightly. So it shows you how strong this snake is. When I first got her, she did actually rub the front scales of her nose off. It's looking pretty good now, but she had the tendency to rub her nose on the top of the tank, which wasn't fun. She rubbed to try to escape. Let's put her back now. Go on, pretty girl.
Explain to the people at home The poop shoot on that one.
The poop shoot.
The poop shoot on that one.
Oh yes. Snakes, reptiles in general, they have the tendency to have smelly poop. This specific snake has very big and extremely smelly poop. So if you don't clean it up the day she poops, your entire house will smell. It is not fun. But that's what they make candles for.
And to a person who doesn't normally handle reptiles or snakes in general, it is definitely a very noticeable smell. It's definitely something you will have to get. I don't want to say nose blind to, but you would have to do it like I never noticed. Like I had a dog, like I had a Rottweiler, so and
Dog
sometimes
smell.
yeah, and sometimes he would use the bathroom in the house, and or just the regular dog smell. Kind of got nose blind to it, and I wouldn't notice until I went I moved out of my mom's house for a while, and when I finally came back, I definitely noticed the smell because we weren't around dogs for a while. So yeah,
Honestly, I don't think you'll ever be able to get nose blind to it.
no,
Use a lot of candles.
no.
Alright. And this is one of my newer
The baby.
favorite reptiles, snakes. So, huh? So, on that note of what makes me choose a reptile, she is what you would call a Dominican red mountain boa. Now, she is considered, they were first considered to be in the same family as rainbow boas. They do get that very pretty iridescence. I don't know if it's picking up on the camera at all. It's kind of hard to see right now. But this particular species has the ability to get super bright red and orange. And now, this specific snake, as I was told by her breeder, will most likely end up being a bright rusty orange. She does look pretty brown right now. In certain lighting, I do actually see that orange come out in her. She is a gorgeous snake. She has the greatest temperament out of all the snakes that I have, I'd say. Not all of them, because Nagini's the best. Nagini never bit me or anything. Honestly, that snake would never harm a fly. Unless that fly smelled like a rat. I actually just gave her a live mouse a couple days ago for the first time. I like to feed most of my reptiles pre-killed or frozen rats.
I was about to say, talk about the kind of food you maybe feed them, or maybe what you've been through as far as changing foods and things like that. Because I know at one point you had ducks too, right? Because at one point you had ducks too, right?
Quail actually.
Quail, sorry.
Yeah. I actually still have some quail left over. So with reptiles, you want to kind of try and keep a varied diet. I know a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, snakes will eat mice all the time, blah, blah, blah. You just feed them the same mouse every time. But you go out in the wild, and I actually just watched a documentary on this with ball pythons. You go out in the wild, they're not eating one species of animal constantly all day long, every day. They're eating a varied diet of birds, mice, lizards, reptiles. So this captive diet that we keep our animals on has a tendency to get boring to them. And I feel like feeding them different things every so often, sometimes feeding them live, sometimes feeding them frozen, sometimes feeding them mice, sometimes feeding them birds, even lizards, even though I don't really want to do that, but if that's something they would eat in the wild, you should probably try and mimic that as much as possible. Make them happy, keep them, what do you call it? What's that word? Active? Enrichment. That's a big thing in the reptile hobby. Um, yeah, it's just I feel like it's really good for the reptiles. And eventually, once this snake gets up to size, we'll start bringing her onto birds and other things. Right now, she's just eating very small pinky mice. She's not very thick. And now, usually, when you feed them, you don't want their food to be any thicker than the thickest part of their body. So, right now, she can't really eat that much. Um, so yeah, I've been keeping her on pinky mice. And she's been doing pretty good, growing pretty quick. Hopefully, in a year or two, she'll be about 4, 5 feet or so. Usually the females grow bigger, so she might possibly get another foot or so. Only time will tell. And back in there. No, get back in there. And last but not least, we have the one and only. Come here, crazy. Doc Holiday. I don't know if y'all
The
could
doc
hear
is
him,
in.
but he was just scratching on his tank, trying to get out, going crazy. He's a nutcase, and he's an attention whore. I don't know if I can say that word. Can I say that word on here?
I think so. We'll find out because I'm not going to bleep it. So.
He is a massive attention whore. As you can see, he's snuggling up to me. He loves it. He loves attention, and he's also in shed right now. You see this little white patch here and all along his body. He's going into shed, so he's probably a bit uncomfortable with that as well. When he was a baby, he was actually a dark red. And with reptiles, they have the tendency to go through color changes. Like with that snake that I just had, the Dominican red mountain boa, they start off a different color, and then as they age, they get brighter. But usually with most species, it's the opposite. They start off as these bright and pretty colors, and then they kind of fade out when they get older. And for this one, Doc, he was actually like a dark brick red. And as he got older, he's about 2.5 years now, I think. Yeah, 2.5 years. As he got older, he turned into more of an orangey red. He's still pretty. I love him, but I was going for that dark red. It's okay, Doc. We don't blame you.
I honestly want to say I think that has been my thing with reptiles, and especially with me starting to get into the turtle hobby, not necessarily all reptiles, but is that usually when they're small, most of their color defining features and things that you really like it, which is why you bought the reptile in the first place. As they get older, they kind of fade away.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's this one snake that I want to get, but it's so expensive. It's like $1,000 for just one baby. Um, it's a Soloacine mangrove snake, and now most mangrove snakes, there's some variation of black with yellow striping on them, or they even have like a blue striping pattern, like a black, blue, yellow striping pattern. With this one, they start off as black and yellow, and then as they age, the yellow just disappears, and they turn into this really dark, pretty black, and it's almost, I guess they turn highly iridescent as well. So, I mean, in that sense, it's not too bad because it still looks really cool as an adult. But a lot of reptiles, like even with ball pythons, they have the tendency to dull out. I guess you just gotta,
Yeah, I personally think that that's like the unfortunate part of it. I mean, it's still cool to have, and I mean, by that point, you've already grown your love for them already at that point. But yeah, I think that is the one disappointing part about reptiles is that when it comes to color variations and things like that, as they get older, they start to dull out, which is kind of crazy. You would think it would be the opposite; they would grow
or
into the
even
color.
there's the more known emerald tree boas. They start off as usually red or yellow, and as they get older in age, they turn to a more emerald emerald green. Hence, emerald tree boa. Um, it'd be cool if they could stay that color though. I've seen the babies; they look so cool in that color. But
I'm a fan with emerald tree boas. I'm a fan of how they lay on the tree branch, particularly how they curl up and just kind of lay there like
yeah,
naturalistically. And I wonder if there's ever a struggle with it. Like I wonder if like they ever try to like wrap themselves up into that little coil on just any tree branch and like I don't know accidentally fall or something like that. But I mean it's natural for them. That's just their nature. You know what I'm saying? So um,
yeah,
but it still would be funny if I wonder if it like ever happened. Not the fact that they fell, but just when animals when it comes to their naturalistic ways, for the most part, they're kind of perfectionists. Even with no teaching, even with uh, reptiles whose parents just leave them at birth. You know what I'm saying? It's still crazy that they just naturalistically like just do things perfectly without knowing how to do it. They just instincts just take over and they just do what they do.
except for crocodiles and alligators.
Yeah, they stay for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stay for a while. Yeah, they stay for a little bit. So
Fun fact, though, on the topic of emerald tree boas, right? Emerald tree boas have the longest fangs of any snake in the world.
certainly.
They got a mean bite. I would not want to be bit by one.
Learn something new every day. That's why I tend to stay out of forest.
And I believe it's the gaboon viper has the longest fangs of a venomous snake.
I like the blue.
Might have to fact check that.
But you know what's crazy? I think, speaking of the trip we just came off of, I love the boom vipers. They're my favorite. I like the way they look.
My reptile guy, he's got a whole wall of them
Yeah,
in his back room. I should have him show you.
yeah.
I love that room.
Yeah, I want one. I want one.
I
It's probably
I gotta
dangerous.
show you a really cool one after. There's this really cool one. Like I've never been too crazy about venomous reptiles,
Mhm.
but one is a bright yellow and black. It's a gaboon viper, and it's a bright yellow. Is it a gaboon or is it a rhino? One of the two, but it's a bright yellow and black stripe, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous and blew my mind. I didn't think it was real. I
Yeah, because
researched it
usually
and I
they're
saw
like white
it,
and brown, right?
and it's called an Ethiopian mountain viper. Um, yeah, I want one. So that venom license that's gonna have to come soon.
Right. Future herpetologist
Yeah.
on the way. You know what I'm saying? Get it in. So, you want to wrap it up for the peoples?
Yeah. Doc, you wanna say goodnight? Okay.
Well, thank everybody. Camera shy lady here.
Yeah,
You
thank
two
you,
wanna-
everybody. Thanks for checking in.
So,
Doc says bye. Bye, everybody.
so we appreciate everybody tuning in to basically a Q&A and introduction of the reptiles. You got to learn a little bit today about Miss Alexis herself. You got to learn a little bit about each of her reptiles. And some of the things you'll probably be able to check out on her channel. So don't forget to check out Lexotic Reptiles on Instagram and YouTube.
Let me know if you want to see anything special, any specific reptiles. Got any more questions?
And we're working on, so she's going to show you guys certain things. She's getting less, I'd probably say you're still uncomfortable, but less uncomfortable with showing feedings, which is what, people kind of like to see sometimes. So, but, she's getting better with that. We love showing off the colors. If you want some more in-depth, care about certain reptiles and trials and tribulations you've been through.
Not the most knowledgeable, but I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing.
Once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and follow if you're on Instagram. Again, Lexotic Reptiles, everybody. Want to take a bow? Curtsy. And scene.